எங்கள் டிபார்ட்மெண்ட்டில் என்ன சொல்லி கொடுப்பாங்கன்னா ஃபர்னிச்சர் டிசைன் இருக்குது, எர்கனாமிக்ஸ், எலக்ட்ரானிக்ஸ் டிசைன் இருக்குது,
data visualization, aesthetics and design, art, design and culture with typography and all.
That means we are creating a future architect. Architecture doesn't have a unique definition because architecture must be experienced. Everyone knows what is an art and engineering. But when these two domains meets at one point, architecture emerges and magic happens.
டெய்லி லைஃப்பில் இதெல்லாம் வந்து முடிஞ்ச அளவுக்கு ஃபங்க்ஷனபுளாக வந்து டிசைன் பண்ண முடியுமோ அதான் வந்து எங்கள் டிபார்ட்மெண்ட்டில் வரும். ஸோ அது நாங்கள் இந்த இயர் எக்ஸ்ப்ளோர் பண்ணோம். மெட்டீரியல் அண்ட் ப்ராசஸில் வந்து நாங்கள் மெட்டீரியல்ஸ் லைக் வுட், பிளாஸ்டிக், அதுக்கப்புறம் வந்து கிளாஸ், இதெல்லாம் வந்து எப்படி மேனுஃபேக்சர் பண்ணுறது, என்னெல்லாம் ஸ்டேஜஸ் இருக்குது, என்னென்ன ப்ராடக்ட்டுக்கு என்னென்ன மெட்டீரியல்ஸ் யூஸ் பண்ணணும் அப்படின்லாம் நாங்கள் வந்து பார்த்து நாங்கள் புரிஞ்சுக்கிட்டோம். நாங்கள்
What is communication design? Here we combine visual design and information and compiling the media, create branding, UI UX design. At SASI we have a program called hybrid program where we learn about motion graphics, interaction design and coding stuff.
இன்னைக்கு நான் கோயம்புத்தூரில் இருக்கிற SASI Creative Collegeக்கு வந்திருக்கேன். அண்ட் இன்னைக்கு இங்கே நிறைய எக்ஸைட்டிங்கான விஷயம் நடக்க போகுது அண்ட் நிறைய அச்சீவர்ஸ் வர போகிறாங்க. அவங்க கிட்ட க்ரியேட்டிவாக நிறைய விஷயங்கள் பேசி தெரிஞ்சுக்க போகிறோம். ஸோ வாங்க வீடியோக்குள்ளே போகலாம். You have been doing this award ceremony for quite a few years now. What are you trying to get from it?
Today is a very exciting day. We have our Stellar Achievers Award. We have a lot of amazingly talented awardees here in our campus, and they're going to showcase the best of the works in the design industry that they've contributed to, and we are very excited to hear their journey and their ideas, and our students are going to be inspired by it. Well, Stellar Achievers Award is a unique function. Typically design awards are done in the industry. Stellar Achievers Award is a design awards done by our SASI Creative College faculty and the student community. So what is the objective and behind this award? Pretty much when we want to go beyond just theory and rhetoric. So we want to identify the best works in the industry and hear exactly from them, from the creators themselves, on like what are the challenges, what are the design process, and what is the outcome that some of these awardees have been able to do. And it is an amazing event. We have some of the top designers from all fields like architecture, interior design, communication, and fashion design who are here, and they represent some of India's best talents, and they represent India's best of works. So it is amazing to have all of them come at this single place and single
Undoubtedly,
time.
yeah.
And for them to share some of the best ideas in the industry and some of the best minds in India. It is an amazing event. We wish everyone comes and hears from them.
Yes. And how's the students' response?
The students are absolutely ecstatic about it. When you read about some of these works, and it is still theory. It is still it is still a write-up.
Yeah.
But then, like when you hear the person who made some of the works and hear from them in person live, it makes a huge impact. So another objective of Stellar Achievers Award was this in-person meeting from the smartest of minds will create an inspiration for our students. And what better way than to bring them in one place and have a live interaction with them.
Definitely. And one final question. What is that one message you would like to say to all the future architects who are watching this video?
For the future architects that are watching this video, there is a huge demand in the market. There's a lot of scope in the future also, as long as you have the right skill sets. So my suggestion to the budding architects is please be open to adapting new skill sets, constantly unlearn and relearn and adapt. I think that is going to be the most defining factor for most careers in the world in the future.
Thank you. Thank you so much, sir. It was indeed a pleasure talking with you, and all the very best for the future.
Thank you so much.
In college, students are trained in a very protected environment. There is a structure to everything. But as soon as, I've seen a lot of youngsters, when they step out into the industry, there are so many variables, there are so many things to deal with. So there is one part of the theory which is there, which holds true. But then so I think that is one key thing, when someone is making this transition into corporate world, they need to understand what they are getting into, which industry they are going to serve, and which company they are going to work with. So with that in mind, I think if little bit of homework will always help there. So that would be my advice to youngsters, who are making this transition. It's a very common mistake which I've seen, that people tend to think that and especially youngsters, they tend to think that they can change the world by themselves. The future is always bright, because user experience, the field that I come from or I represent, will I feel it's an evergreen subject. Why? Because user experience is human centric. So as long as there are human beings, as long as human beings are the users of technologies and other things, user experience will be relevant. There will be some experts which will be needed to make sure that you have the products which are designed in a user friendly manner. There is less friction in using the technologies that we are talking about, and technology in any format, whether it's digital or whether it's interactive or VR, AR, all those kind of things, whatever is out there in the future. So the user experience I believe is a very fundamental subject, which the surface things might change. How you deal with user experience might change. For example, there is an element of AI these days, which is a productivity enhancer, perhaps. But then, you can't throw away the other aspects of user experience, which is, removing the friction from the whole experience of, experiencing these technologies. So as long as those things remain, this domain will survive and thrive, I believe. Stay curious, stay hungry, stay foolish. As already said by Steve Jobs famously, stay hungry, stay foolish. And by that I mean, he meant that, be humble, be, always ready for more knowledge.
So I think it's definitely becoming one of the key points now of how technology is affecting architecture now. And so there are both ways of looking at it. We can see technology as a threat, or we can use it as an ally. And I feel a balance between the two has to be somewhere met. So technology is really helping us conceive a little better, but at the same time it is restricting us to think creatively and innovatively. So there are both ways of looking at it, and one has to know when to use technology, and one also needs to know when to not use technology. So as much as it is important to know when to start using tech, it is equally important to know when to stop. Because if you don't do that, then you are in control of technology rather than technology being in your control. So you have to master the technology rather than it become your master. So that is extremely important. So AI and any other technology which has been prominent now is definitely helping, but if you use it in the right way, which requires a lot of good mindset to be trained with, to be use it in a positive manner. I've spoken about in one of my books as well. I've written a few books, and my recent one has been about parametric minds, which is about how one needs to have a different mindset to deal with a problem, to know how to do problem solving and how to innovate. Because innovation is not something which you can do only with a skill set. It requires a different mindset. So I think I do read a lot of books. So I think that really affects the way I think in a different manner. And my recent read is Psychology of Money I'm reading, which talks about your mindset towards money, for example. It has nothing to do with design, but it talks about a mindset.
students have like a kind of pressure situation, and sometimes when they get to like a pressure situation, they will settle for mediocre. So that's one of the most important mistake that students do. Don't settle for mediocre. And the next 1 year, 80% of the fashion photograph will be AI driven, like the environmental, the moral, everything will be AI driven. So it's inevitable. So you have to embrace it. You have no other choice. You have to give like involve in AI in one way or another. So you don't have much choice.
Architecture already, when I did a future, whatever we predicted, it is happening. So it's definitely thriving. Architecture is really going good on the way above what we expected. When I did architecture, it was so like it was on the starts where people didn't know what is architecture. We were all thought to be archaeologists. But now the generation is so that we have, as our kids now getting into the architecture departments, so it is good. So architecture is thriving a lot. People, awareness is good. So now in the industries, especially in India, down south, people were not aware of architects being for the designs. Now they are having that awareness. So that's a big plus for it. And so we have a good future in that case, because the future is questions when people know and there is abundant knowledge on that. Now people are learning here, so that's the future is good.
First skill they need to learn, they should be ready to work, and they need to go through some hard time when they are getting into interior design or even architecture, because the first stanza is to understand the chemistry and the requirement from the client. Normally what's happening, the designers or architects, they design something, they are implementing and they are giving this to the client's head. But if you are not able to understand the chemistry and the requirement of the client, the end result, even you may happy, but the client may not be happy. So first itself you need to understand. For that you should be able to make yourself to go down to the level of the client, because everyone will not be an architect, everyone will not be an designer. The client, whomever is coming up, they may be farmers, they are doing some other business, they are masters in their business, but they are not masters in architect or designer. So you need to go to their level to understand, to explain the chemistry, the requirement. From there you need to grasp the soul, what they require.
Well, I've always felt that, dealing with the younger minds is very enthralling to both. Because I think, you feel young first when you're with youngsters, and they come up bubbling with all kinds of questions which makes us think to answer. So it's fabulous. And as far as this college campus goes, I must say that I'm really very happy, because I think it's one of its kind where they have integrated all the design, principles together. Yes. So they have fashion design, they have communication design, and they have architecture, interior design, urban design, etc., which is fabulous, because I think a creative campus has to remain a creative campus and not be, clubbed with an engineering campus where logic is the thing. I think this is where dreamers have to be. So it's great that we have a campus exclusively for.
We have Mr. Karthik with us. So sir, tell me, what is the difference between data engineering and data visualization?
Okay. See, data engineering is, if I have to break it into a process, the first thing is like, say you take the data from the sensors, or you capture the data from some source, okay, you bring it into a system. The system can be cloud or anything. You apply some mathematical formula onto it, okay, and the mathematical formula could be a simple average, okay. You derive the average of, like, say, sensors taken over data taken from the sensors over a period of time, and that could be just a mathematical average, and then find out of it, you take some inference out of it, right? So that is typically what I call it as data engineering. Data visualization comes from the other perspective, like say for example, you take some data out of the sensor, you take some data out of the financial system you have, you take some data out of any other system, and you do some mathematical process. But the mathematical process absolutely has no relevance unless it is translated into some meaningful understanding for the customer, where the customer is able to take a decision. Okay, the customer could be a traffic signal system, where it could be the police who derive some inference, it could be a business owner who derives some inference in terms of dollars or rupees, it could be a professor who takes some kind of an inference on, like say, how the students are behaving, etc. So data visualization is more from the customer perspective. Data engineering is more from the engineering perspective, where you take the data and you do some math and it ends there. But visualization is understanding the customer needs, and then you kind of do the inference or derive the inference for the customer. So that's the primary difference between engineering and visualization.
Amazing. Thank you, sir. Thank you so
Hello, I'm Hia from the Foundation Design Department of SASI Creative Colleges, and here we've placed all our foundation department works. So as we know, the foundation is the base of every design program and almost everything that we see in our daily life. Only if something like this, like a foundation, is strong, then everything else that we do will be strong. SASI Creative Colleges provided us with such a wonderful opportunity to place all our works and show our talent to the entire Coimbatore. Here we have done different works from different semesters. So we have included works from 2 semesters, where we have done different projects and different assignments, which include everything from the tiniest dot to the color stroke that we use. And everything has a significance that SASI Creative Colleges has taught us here.
Hi, myself Sabrina. I'm representing fashion department over here. Coming to fashion department, we started with design process, which is like basically understanding about the consumer to make garments for them. And we did a survey and we understand consumer through different kinds of things, like meeting them and making interviews with them. And we also studied a lot about Indian fashion design. Like we studied the craft, block prints and embroidery techniques over here. And the other things you see are like weaving techniques and motif making and everything. It's like very interesting to know about Indian culture. And advancing to the 3rd year, you learn about world Indian textiles and their prints and their culture and their costumes over here. It's like very interesting to get to know about different things. But in SASI Creative, you get to know about different departments also, like communication, fashion and interior and product design, through which you can build a network over here, which will obviously help you in industry and becoming like a well-known and versatile designer. It really makes your design journey interesting.
Hi, என் பேர் அகிலா. நான் வந்து இப்போது செகண்ட் இயர் இண்டஸ்ட்ரியல் டிசைன் படிச்சுட்டு இருக்கேன். எங்கள் டிபார்ட்மெண்ட்டில் என்ன சொல்லிக் கொடுப்பாங்கன்னா, there's a lot of things to that encompass this department. ஃபர்னிச்சர் டிசைன் இருக்குது, அதுக்கப்புறம் வந்து லைக் எர்கனாமிக்ஸ், எலக்ட்ரானிக்ஸ் டிசைன் இருக்குது. டெய்லி லைஃப்பில் இதெல்லாம் வந்து முடிஞ்ச அளவுக்கு ஃபங்க்ஷனபுளாக வந்து டிசைன் பண்ண முடியுமோ அதான் வந்து எங்கள் டிபார்ட்மெண்ட்டில் வரும். ஸோ எங்களுக்கு இப்போதைக்கு வந்து மெயினாக சொல்லிக் கொடுக்குற 2 சப்ஜெக்ட்ஸ் வந்து சிம்பிள் ப்ராடக்ட் டிசைன் அண்ட் அதுக்கப்புறம் வந்து மெட்டீரியல்ஸ் அண்ட் ப்ராசஸஸ். ஸோ வந்து சிம்பிள் ப்ராடக்ட் டிசைனில் என்ன சொல்லிக் கொடுப்பாங்கன்னா வந்துட்டு ஒரு ப்ராடக்ட்டை முடிஞ்ச அளவுக்கு ஃபார்ம் சிம்பிளாக வச்சு அட் த சேம் டைம் வந்து ஃபங்க்ஷனாலிட்டியும் வந்து உதவுற மாதிரி தான் வந்து நாங்கள் டிசைன் பண்ணோம். ஸோ அது நாங்கள் இந்த இயர் எக்ஸ்ப்ளோர் பண்ணோம். இன்னொரு இது வந்து என்னென்னா மெட்டீரியல் அண்ட் ப்ராசஸஸில் வந்து நாங்கள் மெட்டீரியல்ஸ் லைக் வுட், பிளாஸ்டிக், அதுக்கப்புறம் வந்து கிளாஸ், இதெல்லாம் வந்து எப்படி மேனுஃபேக்சர் பண்ணுறது, என்னெல்லாம் ஸ்டேஜஸ் இருக்குது, என்னென்ன ப்ராடக்ட்டுக்கு என்னென்ன மெட்டீரியல்ஸ் யூஸ் பண்ணும் அப்படின்லாம் நாங்கள் வந்து பார்த்து நாங்கள் கற்று புரிஞ்சுக்கிட்டோம். நாங்கள்
myself Pravina, second year interior design student. So in our department we usually design a space both functional and aesthetic. We not only decorate a space but also deal with the technical stuffs, and we have subjects like interior services, components, landscapes and design studio. In components, we learn about different materials and the practical use of things. And in landscapes, we learn about the plants and landscapes we used in the interiors. And design studio is the main subject where we design a space. We actually do it by starting with the research and study papers and then moving on to the final design. We also collaborate with different departments for designing, and that helps us a lot.
So here in communication design, we learn about data visualization, aesthetics in design, art design and culture, and so on, with typography and all. So what is communication design? Here we combine visual design and information and compiling the media, create branding, UI UX design and posters and stuff. Here at SASI, we have a program called hybrid program where we learn about motion graphics, interaction design and coding stuff. So here they ask about our interest and let us learn whatever we want.
So I'm Nandita. I'm doing my second year BArch in SASI Creative School of Architecture. So according to me, architecture is more than just buildings. So it is the art and science of shaping spaces which helps us live, work and connect. So I guess SASI is what it is. So it helps us explore and connect throughout. So SASI College provides us a strong academic platform which helps us gain knowledge and practical skills. So apart from this college conducts various workshops, seminars and industrial visits which help students connect to real world exposure, so which promotes students' creativity, innovation and teamwork among students.
Hello everyone, myself Vijay Vinithan. I'm an architect and I'm also a professor in SASI Creative School of Architecture. Here in SASI, we have a unique teaching methodology. The syllabus which was framed by university was given to us, and we used to infuse the current trending technology within the syllabus. That means we are creating a future architects. Architecture doesn't have a unique definition because architecture must be experienced. Everyone knows what is an art and engineering, but when these two domains meets at one point, architecture emerges and magic happens. I'm so proud to say even the Indian rupee symbol was designed by an architect. So architects can design building, and even they can scale up to designing process to make a city itself. So I'm so proud to say my fraternity creates an identity for this nation. Nam desathin adayalathai uruvaakuvathe architects thaan. Thank you.